A declaration was issued by the leaders of the world. A single ship carrying 480 million human brains fled into the cold void of space, but their long journey was unexpectedly interrupted. The ship's AI, Pangu, burned a decade's worth of power to learn that the entity before them was 3 light years long. To find a mind strong enough to communicate, a virtual world was made, and inside that world, a young man named Ren Shi gets an invitation. The game Light Years is launching, and he is beyond excited. With the game on his mind, Ren Shi vows that nothing will stop him, but someone is watching from around the corner. It's the class monitor, and she's just called him out. She does not look happy to see him skipping class. He makes a run for it, but she gives chase. Desperate to escape, he grabs onto a window ledge and leaps right out into the open air. He sticks the landing like a seasoned parkour pro. He shouts back a flimsy excuse about a terminal illness, leaving the class monitor absolutely fuming. The class monitor can only watch as the door closes behind him. He's made it back to his apartment, safe for now. Inside, the clock ticks down the final minutes. Rensha sits ready, the virtual reality helmet in his hands. He reflects on the mediocre life he's so desperate to escape. This game is his one true opportunity for something more. He puts on the helmet, a gateway to a world of fame and fortune. He lies back, his ultimate dream to conquer this new reality. But his glorious future is interrupted by his little sister, who's just found her piggy bank in 1,000,000 pieces. The final second ticks away on the clock, and Renshi is pulled into the digital world of Light Years. The system confirms a successful login. He's greeted by a personal assistant, here to guide him through character creation. She seems immediately flustered by his presence. As he gets a very close look at her character model, he gives the game's realism a glowing, if slightly creepy, review. The assistant, recovering, asks for his desired name, and he chooses Stellaris. But to his shock, the name is already taken. He tries again with 7 stars, only to be rejected once more. He tries name after name, but every single one is taken, until suddenly, the system announces an available ID. Renshu is stunned, wondering which name actually worked. The system offers him Sexy Star, which he frantically tries to change. He manages to land on the slightly less embarrassing Counterfeit Star. With his new name secured, the assistant moves on to character creation. He's offered a choice between a standard character with limited options, or an immersive one, tailored to his own qualities for a unique story. Convinced that randomness creates miracles, he eagerly chooses the second option. The system confirms his selection and begins its analysis of him. The system scans every facet of Renshi's being. After a moment, the analysis is complete. He eagerly awaits his results, certain he'll be a combat genius. But the game labels him a social parasite, with a laundry list of flaws. With a final farewell, the system sends him on his way until level 1000. Renshi's mind screams in protest, refusing to accept this harsh judgment. He finds himself in total darkness, wondering if he's already dead. Desperate for answers, he tries to access his character menu. The system informs him he can't, as he hasn't even been born yet. Trapped in an egg, he can't help but admire the game's realism. From the darkness, a voice announces a hatching ceremony. Rensha realizes he's the guest of honor, the future Black Dragon ruler. He remembers the lore of the mighty Black Dragons, feeling vindicated. He can already feel his new form, long and powerful with a tail. As the voices outside call to him, he prepares for his grand entrance. He touches the shell, certain his mighty claws will shatter it with ease. Light finally breaks through the darkness, signaling his birth. The world outside is a vibrant, sunlit forest. A small, slimy creature pushes its way out of the shell, revealing Ren. She's new form, a tiny, glowing green slug. He's not a dragon, but a slug, wearing what looks like a frog-themed onesie. Truly the apex predator he envisioned. Below him, the real Black Dragon Prince has hatched, surrounded by his kin. Renshu realizes he's not the protagonist, just a random bug on a nearby tree. In a panic, he desperately tries to pull up his character stats. The results are in, he's a parasitic caterpillar with a pathetic race value of 10 psi. For comparison, even the most basic human character starts with 50. He quickly does the math and realizes he'll be hopelessly outmatched by everyone. His dreams of power crumble as he bemoans his terrible luck. But even as a bug, he declares his birth will not be meaningless. He offers a grand blessing to the future ruler before taking his leave. But then he remembers this is just a game he can quit. Just as he's about to give up, a notification appears. The Black Dragon Egg is an item he can actually pick up. Down below, the dragons decide to start the banquet while they wait. A single leaf drifts down, landing on the stone nest. The Black Dragon King suddenly senses that something is wrong. He turns to find the pedestal completely empty, and in its place sits Ren Shi, feigning total innocence. A system alert confirms it. He's just stolen the Dragon Prince. The enraged Black Dragon King unleashes a forbidden spell, but faced with certain doom, Ren Shi makes a bold declaration. His tiny body turns to stone, his journey cut short. A brilliant column of light marks his demise, but death triggers a flood of system alerts and rewards. He's now a sworn enemy of the dragons, but he couldn't be happier. With the dragon egg secured, he sees a clear path to invincibility, but his grand plans are interrupted by a shadow from above. A level 3 bird monster dives straight for him, and our boy can only scream in absolute terror. With no time to react, Ren Shi slides down the tree trunk. The bird monster misses its target and swoops around for another attack. He furiously calls out the bird for picking on a level 1 bug. He quickly ducks under the branch as the bird's talons strike wood. He realizes his new caterpillar body has some unique advantages, but the monster is persistent, peeking around the branch to find him. Seeing no escape, Ren Shi accepts the challenge to a duel. He equips a novice iron sword, a weapon whose description is more damaging than its stats. With his new blade in hand, he prepares for his first real fight in light years. He realizes his sword can barely scratch the monster's defense, so he resorts to taunting it, daring the creature to come closer. The bird takes the bait, pecking furiously at the branch, while Ren Shi uses the terrain to his advantage, striking its talons. He lands a series of tiny blows in a truly epic confrontation, and with one final strike, the monster's health bar hits 0. His victory is rewarded with a level up and a nice chunk of experience. He also earns the slightly ridiculous title of Pedicure Master. Sadly, the monster didn't drop any loot, leaving him with his novice sword. Having survived his first crisis, he begins to plot his path forward. He examines the dragon egg, but a system alert confirms a major problem. As a sworn enemy of the dragons, he's completely unable to hatch it. A system chart reveals the item's rarity, a mythic-level artifact. He also has an unlimited food ticket, a lord-level treasure he saves for later. Next up is the basic novice set, which includes some simple cloth armor. He equips the robe and pants, gaining a small boost to his stats. But his caterpillar body is incompatible, meaning the gear won't even show up. He moves on to check his skills, finding only a single innate ability. He decides to test his parasitism skill on the defeated bird monster. His tiny body begins to glow with a strange, powerful energy. His body dissolves into a stream of pure green energy. The energy flows towards the bird monster's corpse, enveloping its new host. For a brief, slightly ridiculous moment, his original face appears. Before the system confirms a successful takeover, he tests his new wings, realizing he can finally fly. His weak caterpillar body is just a vessel for a skill that lets him control any creature he defeats. He dumps all his new attribute points into Constitution, turning his base form into a tiny, resilient tank. With a new body and a clear strategy, he sets off to level up. He spots his first potential target, a level 6 magical rabbit. But nearby, a level 25 wolf reminds him just how fragile he is. Nearby, a level 43 berserk goblin serves as another stark reminder of the danger. Ren Shi decides to focus on something more his speed, like a level 5 mantis, but a level 8 poison spider presents a much more tempting opportunity. He lands his bird host on a nearby branch to observe the situation. From his ridiculous perch, he watches the forest's drama unfold. He sees the spider is already being hunted by a fire ant colony. The spider rears back, preparing to defend its web from the intruders. The ants swarm forward, launching a volley of acid spit. Ren Shi notes their aim is terrible as their attacks go wide. As the spider easily retaliates, an idea begins to form in his mind. The spider's web melts away under the acidic barrage. It finds itself completely surrounded by the relentless ants. The colony's coordinated attack has it cornered. They force the spider down from the tree, right into their trap, and Ren Shi decides this is the perfect time to jump into the fray. The spider retaliates with a powerful burst of poison. The toxic spray dissolves the ants in the front line. But the creature is wounded, its health bar now low. Ren Shi abandons his bird and unleashes his ultimate skill. But the system warns him this takeover won't be so easy. His spirit form taunts the spider's fading consciousness. Outside, the ant colony continues its relentless assault. The spider's health continues to plummet under the attack. And with that, the system confirms a successful takeover. He learns that his new host has a limited durability bar. Vowing to honor the spider's will, he turns to face the ants. He immediately puts the creature's abilities to use. His first move is a tactical retreat to avoid being swarmed. He swings to safety, reflecting on the nature of intelligence. It's about using every advantage to secure victory. He commands his new host to spray poison, coating the entire tree trunk in a toxic slime. He reveals his brilliant, if slightly ridiculous, plan. His pedicure master title boosts damage to an enemy's feet. As the first ant touches the poison, it recoils in pain. The entire colony begins to take continuous damage. He continues his assault from above, covering the tree. The ant's health bars steadily drop from the poison. Renshi marvels at his own genius, creating a massive AoE trap. But knowing it's not enough, he climbs higher for a better position. He commands his new host to spin a line of silk. He carefully wraps the thread around his novice iron sword. He's about to teach the ant colony a harsh lesson in physics. He lets the sword plummet towards the ground below. The blade strikes an ant with lethal force, an instant kill. He quickly retracts his new weapon, ready for another strike. The ants fall one by one, unable to counter his aerial assault. The experience pours in, leveling him up twice in an instant. He reflects on his strategy, a potent mix of poison and gravity. But with more ants arriving, he decides his duty to the spider is done. He declares the next phase of his plan has begun. He leaps from the tree, crashing into the heart of the ant swarm. He immediately targets their weakest point, the joints between their segments. The critical hit is an instant kill, far more effective than his pedicure skills. He uses the spider's sharp legs to carve a path through the enemy ranks. But his true creativity is just getting started. He shoots out strands of silk, entangling the ants around him. And in a move of pure tactical brilliance, he fashions them into a suit of armor. Clad in his new ant mail, he charges the main colony head-on. But the swarm unleashes a furious counterattack, unwilling to be defeated. The ants honor the fallen spider, a worthy adversary to the very end. With their enemy defeated, the colony celebrates its hard-won victory. And Ren Shi, now perched on an ant's head, has a new motto. If you can't beat them, parasitize them. He immediately tries to blend in, asking his new brothers about their plans. He realizes that by joining the colony, he finally has the power to level up. And his first instinct is to see how he can take advantage of his new family. But a system alert stops him, confirming he's now officially an ally of the ant colony. He checks his new skills, discovering he can guide the swarm and coordinate their attacks. Wasting no time, he activates the March skill, taking command of the ants. The entire colony falls into formation, following their new tiny green leader. With Renshe in command, the ant army begins its relentless march. They swarm a level 7 worm, overwhelming it with sheer numbers. Even a level 9 forest slime is no match for their coordinated assault. And from his perch, Renshi has fully embraced his new leadership role. He lectures one of the ants for not pulling its weight in the fight. Our boy's gone full middle manager, preaching about productivity and gratitude. He demands better teamwork and tactical awareness from his troops. His harsh methods work as the experience pours in, leveling him up again. But their path is blocked by a new, more powerful foe, a level 10 demonic cat. The cat easily swats aside the first wave, mocking their fragility. But the cat is too strong, and his ant army is taking heavy losses. Renshir realizes he needs an upgrade, deciding to seek out the main ant nest. And just as the battle ends, he finally hits level 10. An alert congratulates Counterfeit Star for being the first to level 10. He's also unlocked his first-class advancement and a special epic reward. In his hands, a mysterious scroll appears. It's a Profession Fusion scroll, an item that can create a hidden class. Thrilled with his rewards, he decides to organize his inventory. His two most valuable items are still there, the dragon egg and the food ticket. He's also gathered a pile of common gear and materials from his recent battles. He doesn't care that the armor is invisible, as long as the stats go up. With a clear path forward, he plans to level up and advance his class. But his grand strategy is immediately derailed. A level 6 rabbit appears and Ren. She tries to stare it down. The creature responds with a powerful stomp, clearly unimpressed. So Renshu activates his signature skill, enveloping the rabbit in green light. The system confirms a successful takeover, but something is very wrong. A system alert reveals his new host is in a special state, in heat. His new body is suddenly overcome by this strange new status effect. And just like that, he loses all control as the rabbit bolts into the forest. His new host immediately spots another rabbit in the bushes. Before Renshi can even process what's happening, his host's instincts take over. The rabbit's biological imperative moves with terrifying speed. Leaving Renshi a helpless passenger in this very awkward situation, he can only marvel at the game's realism, while hoping no one ever finds the server logs for this. But the moment is shattered by a sudden, overwhelming sense of dread. A system alert confirms his new host is now in a state of fear. A powerful presence begins to manifest right before him. The system explains he's just angered the Rabbit King by approaching his mate, and now he must face the consequences. A Lord-level boss, Rabbit King Alka, trapped in the rabbit's body, Renshi declares he's ready for a real fight. But the story cuts away from the game to a grand, opulent hall. Here, the leaders of the world discuss the game's launch rewards. They boast about their chosen players, whose race values reach 90 points. Nearby, an ordinary player feels envious of these nationally sponsored accounts. He glances at his peers, like a girl with a low-combat flower fairy race, and another with a magic puppet cyborg, a race that requires heavy investment. An official leads them to a door, behind which await the future's brightest stars. The massive doors begin to swing open, revealing a scene of carnage and a severed arm on the floor, and beside it, the head of one of the world's chosen players. An official screams in horror, identifying the victim as Lord Jonathan. The entire room is filled with the bodies of the nation's best. Chaos erupts as the leaders realize they're under attack, but a voice declares that these victims were merely obstacles. The killer identifies herself only as the story's female protagonist. She claims to have been reborn with a mission to complete the main quest.
She stands in the doorway, issuing a challenge to the survivors.
The condition: get 3,000 accounts to level 1,000. A perfectly reasonable request. She declares herself the sole hope for humanity's future. The remaining leaders order security to open fire on the lone woman, but she remains completely unfazed by the threat. Instead, she breaks the fourth wall, speaking to an unseen author. She asks if they truly want her to eliminate everyone present. She acknowledges that while it would be a shocking event, it's ultimately meaningless. And then she begins to explain the true nature of their world. In reality, humanity's ship was stopped by the massive entity known as Yarrow. The ship's AI, Pangu, created a virtual reality to shield them from this truth. Within that world, the game was made to find a hero to defeat the entity. She and her team were ejected from the main ship to carry out their mission. She explains that in that moment, time itself seemed to warp. Their mission, the Stellaris plan, was a complete failure. She returned to find Pangu had reset everyone's memories, hoping to find a true hero. One of the leaders refuses to believe her, calling her claims nonsense. He orders his men to attack, demanding they destroy her completely. But she remains calm, knowing they feel safe with Pangu's backups. Suddenly, the other leaders change their tune, welcoming her back. They offer their support, promising humanity's gratitude for her success. But one of them offers a grim warning about self-proclaimed heroes. They reveal Pangu has given her top-level authority and challenge her to prove herself by saving them all. She claims the will to save humanity is what drove her to evolve. She dismisses the fallen players as mere obstacles, never to be seen again. The clock strikes 7, the appointed hour, and she announces her entry into the game world of Stellaris. In a flash of light, she disappears from the real world. Pangu confirms her story, ordering the leaders to support her mission. The woman appears in a bustling town square within the game. She's already changed into new gear, glad to be out of her old uniform. She explains her need for equipment to boost her low starting stats, and she recalls a rival from her past life who wielded an absurdly powerful weapon. She immediately opens her character sheet to review her build. She's chosen a standard human race, pouring every single point into agility. She tries to claim her old name, Yanxing, only to find it's already been taken. But in a strange twist, the system suddenly declares the name is available. She wonders if one of her former teammates has also returned from the future. Pushing the thought aside, she confirms the name, her focus set on a hidden treasure. Her incredible speed immediately earns her the title Fleet as a Phantom and a new skill. She arrives at the town blacksmith, who notes her early arrival. She knows this brash NPC is the key to finding another important character. But the blacksmith is unimpressed, telling her to stop blocking his son. She reveals her ability to manipulate the game's code, but must be careful not to alert Pangu. She then requests a massive cash advance directly from the system AI. With her newfound wealth, she demands the blacksmith's best weapons, who scoffs at her confidence. He presents a powerful Lord-tier longsword, quoting an exorbitant price. But Yanxing recognizes the blade's unique forging style, a secret from a hidden NPC. The sword grants a massive damage boost against monsters, a rare find for any new player. Using her future knowledge, she counters with a much lower price for 4 of them. The blacksmith refuses, holding firm on his original offer. So she resorts to more aggressive negotiation tactics, and he quickly changes his mind. As she leaves, he warns her about her violent nature, but she simply walks away. She recalls the blacksmith's hidden potential from her past life. He presents her with a massive arsenal of weapons, both good and bad, The trade is completed and Yanxing acquires her new collection. Using knowledge from her past life, she instantly masters every weapon type. This incredible feat earns her the title of Weapon Master. With this power, she plans to dominate the early game and reach level 10 first. The blacksmith tells her to leave, but she already has her next move planned. Fully equipped, she declares it's time to head into the wild. She immediately puts her skills to the test, taking down a low-level bird, and seamlessly switching to her bow to strike down another foe. She switches to a staff, obliterating a level 2 slime, then to daggers, dispatching a level 7 pigman with ease, and finally, to a greatsword cleaving a level 8 demon hound. At level 9, she recalls her plan to hunt every boss for their superior gear. Her first major target appears, the level 10 Raven Tiger. The beast leaps through the air, pouncing with deadly intent. But Yanxing is faster, a blur of motion as she meets its attack head-on. Her eyes narrow, her focus absolute. She unleashes her full arsenal, a storm of blades swirling around her, and lands a devastating blow against the powerful monster. The Raven Tiger's health bar hits 0, its body collapsing to the ground. Yanxing stands over her fallen foe, a testament to her overwhelming power. She smirks, explaining her strategy is to burn brightly and end fights in an instant. Her victory brings a flood of rewards, including a new title and a powerful scythe. The system confirms she's hit level 10, unlocking her first-class advancement. But she has no intention of returning to town, setting her sights on a much bigger prize. Rabbit King Alka. And back in the forest, Renshi finds himself face-to-face with that very same boss. The Rabbit King charges forward with blinding speed, far too fast for him to react. A single powerful blow sends his tiny rabbit host flying through the air. And our boy is launched into the sky, his first boss fight not going exactly as planned. The Rabbit King comes crashing down with a powerful stomp. Its eyes glow with the fury of a Lord-level boss. Renshi's tiny host can only stare up in terror, but he finds an opening, landing a quick bite on the king's tail. He lands with a taunt, boasting that he can jump too. He launches himself into the air with a flurry of hops, but he quickly realizes the king's jump is 3 times more powerful. Knowing he's hopelessly outmatched, Renshi makes a run for it. He dashes towards the safety of a nearby tree, and in midair, his rabbit body begins to expand. He leaps towards the tree, using the terrain to his advantage. With a powerful kick off the trunk, he learns a new skill, allowing him to change direction midair. The Rabbit King smashes into the tree, missing him by inches. Rensha taunts the boss, boasting about his newfound mobility. The king is, to put it mildly, not amused. It unleashes a powerful ranged attack, striking with incredible force. Rensha realizes this boss is a true newbie killer, far beyond his level. His tiny host is sent flying from the sheer power of the blow. The Rabbit King roars, asserting its dominance over the battlefield. Realizing his mistake, Rensha frantically cancels his parasitism skill. The Rabbit King devours its former mate, gaining a pathetic amount of health. But as Renshi makes a run for it, he realizes the boss isn't giving chase. A brilliant idea strikes him. The king's hatred was for the host, not for him. And with a wicked grin, he decides to be absolutely ruthless. He quickly analyzes the boss's entire skill set, from its charge to its carrot spikes. He declares that the very forest that raised the king will also be its tomb. The scene shifts to a calm, peaceful afternoon, where the Rabbit King is now relaxing on a log, completely unaware of the danger. And right on cue, the female rabbit emerges from the bushes, the perfect bait. The Rabbit King closes its eyes, completely at ease. The female rabbit puts on a charming display, luring him closer. The king's eyes snap open, his composure completely shattered. He pounces on the unsuspecting rabbit, falling right into the trap. And Renshi makes his exit, canceling the skill at the perfect moment. His spirit form soars through the air, seeking out a new host. He takes control of a nearby mantis, his true weapon now revealed. He tries to activate his Pedicure Master title, but the system isn't buying it. The mantis strikes, landing the first blow on the distracted king. Enraged, the Rabbit King turns its fury on its former mate. He declares the king won't be allowed to heal itself. He cancels his control over the mantis and immediately takes over the female rabbit once again. The enraged king gives chase with a powerful leap. Realizing he can't escape, Renshi decides to stop running. It's time to introduce one angry boss to another angry tree. The king pounces, completely unaware of the new threat. The Trent's vines lash out, entangling the powerful boss. It hoists the Rabbit King into the air, completely helpless. The Trent then begins to absorb the king's energy. Renshi's plan is simple: deny the king any chance to recover. The boss roars in defiance, but this is only the beginning. From his perch, Renshi reveals his true battlefield. He's led the Rabbit King into the heart of the demonic Trent's territory. He'll jump from tree to tree, a tiny, green, micromanaging nightmare. The king is quickly overwhelmed, bound by a prison of living wood. With the Trent formation complete, the next phase begins. He takes control of the fire ants he fought earlier, and commands them to unleash a coordinated volley of acid. The helpless king is now trapped, poisoned, and slowly being dissolved. He then takes control of a level 9 forest slime. Combining its corrosive acid with his pedicure master title, the Rabbit King can only roar in agony as its health drains. And in a stroke of pure luck, his title triggers a 1% instant kill. His reward is a hero tier item, the Hermit's Ring. He immediately equips his powerful new treasure. The ring's stealth abilities are a perfect fit for his strategy. He stands over the fallen boss, his impossible plan a success. But this victory has unlocked something more than just loot. He finds he can now access the memories of his fallen hosts. Elsewhere, Yanxing carves a path through the wilderness. She revels in the freedom of this new world. Her journey takes her deeper into the forest. She's certain she's arrived at the Rabbit King's den. Cautiously, she peers around a tree trunk, but she's greeted by an unexpected sight. The boss is already dead. She recalls the prize she came for, the Hermit's Ring. Her plan had been to stack damage bonuses for a one-hit kill, switching between her many weapons and finishing the boss with a single powerful strike. But her original strategy was sound. An instant kill was the only way. Her eyes narrow with focus as she prepares to strike. She lunges forward with blinding speed, the ground cracking beneath her, and leaps into the air, a blur of motion ready for the kill. But her attack is stopped by thick vines, a skill she doesn't recognize. She lands hard, caught completely off guard by the unexpected defense. A spike of earth erupts from the ground, forcing her to dodge. She realizes the boss's mechanics have somehow changed. Her eyes widen in disbelief at this impossible turn of events. And the Rabbit King itself bursts from the ground, launching a powerful jump. The Rabbit King unleashes a powerful punch, sending her flying. She's stunned by its relentless high-speed attacks. The massive boss slams her down from the air, sending her plummeting towards the forest floor. She crashes into the ground with devastating force. She tumbles across the clearing, unable to recover. Her body finally skids to a halt, completely overwhelmed. The Rabbit King looms over her defeated form, so much for being the chosen one. But its thoughts reveal a shocking truth. It's excited to finally have a human body. And on its head sits Renshi, surprised his trap caught a player so soon. He's combined the Treant's vines with the king's own deadly combo. And with the player defeated, Renshi makes his move. His spirit form envelops its new, unsuspecting host. For a moment, the woman's consciousness fades away. Her eyes snap open, revealing a new, tiny green master. Renshi celebrates, finally back in a human body. He tests out his new limbs, his original form, now a cute little hat. Getting used to bipedal movement is proving to be a challenge. He checks her stats, noting her fragile, all-agility build. But with a human host, he can finally head to town for a class advancement. He considers his options, knowing his class must complement his parasitism skill. And then, a brilliant idea strikes him. He'll become a necromancer, a master of controlling the dead. With his new goal in mind, he races towards the newbie village. But his path is quickly blocked by a vicious wolf monster. He dodges with ease, wielding one of his host's many weapons. He's starting to appreciate the high-risk, high-reward nature of this build. Surrounded by the pack, he confidently challenges them all at once. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the forest, another group of players celebrates a lucky find. They've defeated a massive snake, securing a rare class for their growing guild. The mage offers the rare scroll to their brawny leader. The priestess praises his skill, crediting him with their victory. But he declines the offer, focused on his warrior build. And their strategy of blocking the village to loot other players, the priestess moves to check the loot on one of their victims. But from the shadows, Renshi recognizes this infamous group. They're a team of player killers who prey on low-level newbies. Suddenly, a small object flies through the air, landing right in the priestess's unsuspecting hands. It's Ren. She's true form, and he looks absolutely delighted with himself. The mage celebrates his new beast Tamer scroll, but the priestess tries to get his attention from behind. She drops her staff, revealing a massive pile of loot. A treasure trove of gear, gold, and even a pet egg. She tells the mage to drop his items so she can collect them. To his shock, she begins to remove her robes, leaving the mage completely flustered by the display. She then pats her shoulder as if making an offering. The mage completely misreads the situation, thinking it's a romantic advance. But Renshi leaps from his perch, ready to claim a new host. Our boy's new facehugger routine is surprisingly effective. The brawny leader recalls their recent victory over the massive thunder python. He harvests the beast's remains, a cruel smile on his face. The aftermath of their battle stains the forest path. He plans to use the monster's parts to craft powerful gear. But his real prize is the epic tier class scroll it dropped. It's for the Death Knight, a powerful hybrid class immune to physical attacks. With this power, he hopes to join the ranks of the Dark Temple. His grand plan set, he turns back to his companions. He calls out, ready to return to town and claim his new class. But when he looks back, he's met with a confusing scene. He misinterprets the situation, offering them some privacy. He turns his back, giving them space for their activities. But after a moment of silence, he starts to get impatient. He even offers to help, completely missing the point. He gives the mage a pep talk, encouraging him to be more proactive. But the mage responds with a sudden, violent burst of magic. The powerful blast sends the brawny leader flying. He lands in a heap, furious at this sudden betrayal. And from behind, the priestess prepares a spell of her own. She unleashes a blinding slime attack, hitting him square in the face. He roars in frustration, demanding she remove the debuff. His former teammates are tossed aside like rag dolls. They lie unconscious, their gear completely stripped. Blinded and confused, he demands to know what's happening. From a nearby tree, Renshi explains it's a side effect of his skill. With his puppet's purpose served, it's time for the main event. He leaps from his perch, scythe in hand, and brings the massive blade down on his unsuspecting target. But the leader reacts just in time, dodging the lethal blow. The leader's eyes widen in shock at the near miss. Rensha leaps through the air, scythe raised high. But the leader parries the blow with a flash of steel. The attack is deflected, sending Renshi back to the ground. He's impressed, admitting his opponent has some skill. The leader scoffs, warning him he's picked the wrong fight. He seems to be considering his next move with casual arrogance. Suddenly, Rensha finds himself completely surrounded. The leader's cronies boast about their boss's high rank. But Renshi just smirks, completely unfazed by the odds. He notes that his former puppets revived surprisingly fast. But the leader scoffs, certain of his impending victory. One of the cronies, a rogue, activates his stealth skill. He lunges forward, a blur of motion with daggers drawn. The attack lands with blinding speed. But a heavily armored tank steps in to block the blow. He reports that their fallen comrades have revived, and speculates that Ren Shi is controlling a powerful summon. The leader has other plans, wanting to tame it for their own. He identifies the target, the strange orb on her head, completely unaware it's the real player. Renshi realizes his parasitism skill is an instant kill on weakened foes, and his ambitions immediately escalate to total server domination. But his evil monologue is interrupted by the charging tank. He dodges the spear with his host's incredible speed, only to be ambushed from behind by the brawny leader. He ducks under the massive crescent slash, narrowly avoiding the blade. The rogue appears from the shadows, aiming a poisoned dagger. The blade comes within an inch of his neck before he twists away. Another attacker lunges, swinging a wicked-looking scythe. But Renshu deflects the blow, driving the weapon into the ground. He uses his host's agility to disarm one attacker with a powerful kick, and leaps into the air, a whirlwind of motion that leaves them stunned. The brawny leader falls to his knees, already wounded from the exchange. Renshi realizes their coordination is impressive, a well-oiled machine for preying on newbies. But he has an ace up his sleeve, his host's weapon master skill, a powerful ability that triggers when switching between different weapons. He looks down at the scattered blades on the ground, a plan forming in his mind. The player killers can only stare in utter confusion. He begins gathering their fallen weapons, explaining he needs a full arsenal. Just then, his former puppets arrive, demanding the leader catch him for the stolen scroll. He quickly stuffs the last of their weapons into a makeshift sack, and with his loot secured, he makes a break for it. He turns back with a wicked grin, ready to make them run. He thanks them for the gear, promising to see them for their next debt. The leader orders his assassin to give chase, the only one fast enough. But even he can't keep up with Yanxing's pure agility build. Desperate, the assassin pulls out a speed-boosting potion. He downs it in a single gulp, determined to catch his target. With a burst of speed, he closes the distance. But he's still too slow, cursing the fact he died before getting his class advancement. The leader offers the assassin a valuable class scroll, if he can take down their target and retrieve the loot. The assassin reminds his boss of their loyalty with an offline threat, but up ahead, Renshi's host suddenly trips and takes a spectacular dive right into the dirt. The pursuers close in as she lies motionless on the path. The assassin stops short, surprised that she actually fell, but the mage warns them to be wary of a surprise attack. Just then, a familiar, terrifying rabbit appears behind him. The Rabbit King Alka attacks with a furious swipe. Renshi reveals he'd stashed the boss's body, now using it as a weapon. The tank quickly moves in, raising his shield to intercept the blow. But the Rabbit King unleashes another of its powerful skills. A massive carrot spike erupts from the ground, sending the tank flying. The player can only scream as his health bar evaporates. His body crashes into a tree, taken out in a single hit. The leader realizes this is no ordinary monster, but a high-level boss. Terrified of losing levels, he makes a desperate run for it. But the Rabbit King gives chase, with Renshi riding on its head. The boss closes the distance in a blur of furious motion. The assassin pushes forward, certain he won't be taken down so easily. But a sudden wave of confusion washes over him. He falls to his knees, wondering why the boss isn't attacking. And then he realizes he was never the target. The Rabbit King bypasses him completely, its true objective now clear. The brawny leader is struck down before he can even react. And from his perch, Renshi demands his prize. His spirit form envelops the fallen player, ready to claim a new host. With its purpose served, the Rabbit King puppet collapses to the ground. And Renshi rises, now in control of the player killer's powerful body. The lone surviving assassin can only stare in terror. His former leader now stands before him, radiating a strange, hostile energy. Renshi demands the player hand over all his loot. He surveys his haul, a treasure trove of gold, gear, and class scrolls. He finds a particularly useful mask and decides to equip it. With his inventory sorted, his next goal is to finally advance his class. He switches back to Yanxing's body, preferring its agility and appearance. With a return to town scroll in hand, he prepares to leave the forest. But instead of teleporting, his host's body suddenly collapses, and he faceplants right into the dirt. So much for a grand exit. Meanwhile, Yanxing respawns at the revival point in town. She's still processing the fact that she was taken out in a single hit. Not only that, but she lost her powerful scythe, realizing someone is deliberately targeting her. She suspects the player who controlled the Rabbit King is a beast tamer with a hidden class. And with this unknown player on the loose, her advantage from the future is gone. As if on cue, she spots the very same group of player killers up ahead. Their leader cracks his knuckles, a clear sign of aggression. Other players recognize the infamous tiger hunting gang, certain she's their next target. But instead of running, Yanxing takes a deliberate step forward. She walks straight towards them, her expression cold and determined. The leader shouts at her, convinced she has a rare item. He orders his men to attack, hoping to steal her powerful summons. But Yanxing is completely unimpressed by this predictable encounter. She activates her Weapon Master skill, a flurry of blades appearing in her hand. With each switch, her attack power skyrockets. She carves through the entire gang in a single devastating instant. Her real objective lies elsewhere, at a hidden cave on Back Mountain. She recalls a hidden quest tied to the village blacksmith. The cave is filled with dark monsters, and she has the perfect counter. She steps into the darkness, met by the glowing eyes of the creatures within. She switches weapons, cutting a path through the swarm of bats. Her only goal is to reach the deepest part of the cave. She becomes a whirlwind of light, carving through the darkness. At the end of the tunnel, she finds her target, the sealed priest, Adult. The old man's only wish is to deliver a letter to the Temple of Light. She announces her arrival, and he correctly guesses the blacksmith sent her. She plays the part of a devout follower, here on a holy mission. The priest is moved by her presence, but his strength is fading fast. He activates a magic circle, urging her to step inside. He'll sacrifice himself to send her and the letter to safety. She recalls the quest's 3 outcomes: a light path, a dark path, or a secret third option, feigning weakness to get his blessing. The dying priest agrees, seeing no point in clinging to his mission. He offers her a final gift, a glowing orb of pure light. She's just acquired the Source of Light, a unique weapon that can absorb others to grow. She immediately feeds it her entire arsenal of weapons and materials. The blade transforms, its power growing with each item it consumes. Because it can morph, it perfectly complements her Weapon Master skill. This single weapon will be the key to unlocking thousands of class advancements. The teleportation spell activates and the priest's sacrifice is complete. Back in town, Renshi bursts through the door, ready for his class advancement. He's greeted by the village chief, who offers a choice of classes to help him survive. But Renshi has a much grander plan, asking for one of every scroll available. The chief is taken aback, warning him that he can only choose one main class. Renshi just smiles, politely insisting he wants to buy them all anyway. The chief lays out all 10 basic class scrolls from warrior to archer. System alerts confirm he's acquired the entire set of basic classes. Each scroll grants the basic skills for a class up to level 100. He realizes that his parasitized hosts can also change class, opening up a world of possibilities. His plan is to make his main body a mage, then use his fusion scroll to evolve into a unique necromancer class. The village chief's eyes narrow with a knowing look. He offers Renshi a special quest for an extra powerful class, and our boy, ever the opportunist, immediately accepts the offer. The quest is simple. Find a man named Adol in a mountain cave, and then, with a dark smile, he orders Renshi to kill him. With no hesitation, Renshi rushes out to complete his task. He follows the path out of the village and towards the mountains, but just outside the village gate, he stops to observe from behind a tree. He overhears a group of players celebrating a lucky hero tier drop. It's the same player killers, now stronger and still blocking the exit. Renshi approaches them with a casual, friendly wave, but the player killers recognize him and recoil in absolute terror. He responds with a single, swift swing of his scythe, and just like that, the entire gang is sent flying into the sky. He admires his prize, a hero tier ring looted from their leader. The cursed Ring of Light Wisdom has a major drawback, but for Renshi, it's perfect. He uses its power to match his intelligence to his maxed out constitution. This also unlocks a quest to evolve his parasitism skill, offering 3 powerful new paths. With his new power secured, he arrives at the cave to complete his mission. He peers into the darkness, unimpressed by the lack of basic lighting. He finds his target, the priest Adol, meditating in a circle of light. The old man looks up, confused by the adventurer's sudden return. Renshi quickly realizes his host has already been here before. Adol explains that he's already given her the letter and weapon, and now just wants to die in peace. His body is clearly failing, racked by a violent, painful cough. So Renshi gets straight to the point, revealing he was sent to kill him for a class scroll. The priest is stunned, demanding to know who would issue such an order. A plan forms in Renshi's mind. He sees a new path to victory. He names the village chief, feigning innocence and suggesting it's all a misunderstanding. But Adol's face darkens, revealing the chief was the true traitor all along. He tells the dying priest to wait just a moment, and then he sprints out of the cave at full speed. Nearby, another party of players struggles against a powerful Trant. Renshi appears behind their priestess, tapping her on the shoulder. Before she can react, he scoops her up and makes a run for it. Her party's tank cries out, his defenses starting to crumble. The mage looks around in confusion, wondering where their healer disappeared to. With their support gone, the remaining players are forced into a hasty retreat. Renshi returns to the cave, asking Adol to heal his newly acquired friend. But the old priest has given up, claiming his wounds are beyond saving. Adol offers a final item, a glowing sigil, asking her to find someone who can activate it. The sigil glows with a faint, holy light in the palm of his hand. But Renshi insists he has another method that might just save the old man. The priest has accepted his fate, telling him not to waste his energy. Renshi places his hands on the old man's shoulders, telling him it will be quick. And from his perch, he unleashes his signature skill. A stream of green energy flows from his true form into the priest's body. The system compares their health, and Renshi's is far superior. The takeover is a success, and his former hosts collapse to the ground. Renshi now controls the priest, a wicked smile spreading across his new face. He immediately opens the system panel to check his new host's stats, and he's hit the jackpot. A legendary, level 599 high priest. He justifies his actions, deciding to borrow the body since it was going to waste anyway, but the cave monsters have respawned, surrounding the terrified priestess. Renshi grabs a simple staff, noting his host's weapon is gone. He channels the priest's immense power into the ordinary wood. The resulting blast of light purifies the priestess of her debuffs, and unleashes a massive wave of energy that clears the entire cave. With the threat gone, he laments how long he's been stuck at level 10. But now, it's finally time to advance his class to Necromancer. The system confirms his class change to the Lord tier Necromancer. He gains a host of new skills, jumping straight to level 18. He's also ready to evolve his parasitism skill, having created his own leveling spot. The cave's monsters respawn, swarming him from all sides. But with the priest's immense power, this is no longer a threat. He unleashes a wave of energy, leveling up at an incredible rate. But the priest's spirit isn't going down without a fight. He unleashes a forbidden spell, trying to reclaim control. Renshi panics, promising to return the body when he's finished. But the priest's rage consumes him, his spirit twisting in agony. The priest's spirit, now a demonic figure, questions his use of dark magic. He declares he'll willingly fall to darkness for his goddess. and he vows to drag Renshi down with him. He mistakes Rensha for a powerful agent of the Dark Lord, believing his death will be a major blow to the enemy. Rensha, however, is completely over this dramatic monologue. The priest unleashes a final sacrificial spell to transform him. Renshi's host can only watch in horror as the dark energy surges, and his true form is caught in the blast, screaming in absolute terror. He's confused by the sudden change of plans, wondering about this new transformation. The system confirms his transformation into a dark purgatory caterpillar. Renshi is thrilled, immediately dumping his new points into Constitution. But the priest's spirit warns him that his celebration is premature. His dark soul is now trapped inside a body of pure light, and with that final warning, the priest's spirit vanishes. A flood of alerts confirms he's killed the priest, earning the Godslayer title. But Renshi's true form seems less than impressed with the situation. Suddenly, his host's body begins to burn with a strange white fire. The system warns him that the opposing light and dark attributes are causing a fatal reaction. With no other choice, he cancels his parasitism and abandons the dying host. Renshi panics, unable to extinguish the holy fire consuming his body. A system alert confirms this isn't just death, but permanent account deletion. He refuses to accept this fate, frantically searching for a loophole. The timer ticks down as he realizes no potion or item can save him. But in his inventory, he finds one last desperate option. He activates the Profession Fusion Scroll, combining two powerful classes. The system reveals the odds are terrible, with a minuscule chance for the best outcome. But he remembers a title skill earned from his earlier achievements. It guarantees a single success, and he demands the rarest class of all. With only seconds left, the scroll erupts with a brilliant, world-changing light. He screams into the void, begging for any class that can save him. The system answers, offering him the hidden class, Ghost Dragon Legion Commander. But it requires a dragon and a mount, so he grabs his egg and the village chief's body. He leaps towards the unsuspecting NPC, declaring him the perfect sacrifice for his grand evolution. The ritual begins, a vortex of light and power with the clock ticking down. He tries to put on a brave face, but the fear of deletion is very real. And from the light, a tiny dragon emerges, the holy fire on his body now gone. The creature leans in and absorbs the last of the flames, saving him from certain doom. Renshi can hardly believe it, roaring in triumph that he's actually survived. A tiny dragon's tail whips through the air with surprising force. The creature lands right on Renshi's head, leaving him utterly bewildered. It proudly declares that our boy is now its very first pet. The dragon even seems to multiply, flanking him with innocent curiosity. Renshi tries to assert his dominance, beckoning it like a father. But the tiny dragon furiously rejects his authority. A system alert confirms the obvious. Its loyalty is a perfect 0. He realizes that even as a synthesized mount, the dragon is completely disobedient. But then a wicked idea begins to form in his mind. If it won't obey as a pet, he'll just have to force it to obey as a mount. Renshi celebrates his new mount, a powerful and obedient dragon. He eagerly anticipates taking to the skies, but the system informs him flight is not yet unlocked. He checks its stats and is stunned by its incredible power. With so much potential, he decides to raise its loyalty. His first attempt involves offering it a small, unappetizing rock. The tiny dragon responds with a surprisingly ferocious roar. So he tries a different approach, offering it a piece of meat. The fragrant offering seems to capture its attention. He smirks, certain that food is the key to any creature's heart. The dragon licks the offering, while Renshi looks less than thrilled. But the taste triggers a powerful memory in its mind. A flash of its true draconic heritage surges through its tiny body. It remembers its life as an unhatched egg in the stone nest. It recalls the grand feasts promised by its kin, tales of exotic meats from icy palaces, and rare delicacies from the deepest abyss. A veritable buffet of legendary creatures awaited its birth. Back in the present, the dragon drools, and Ren, she knows he's found the key. Its eyes fill with hearts, its loyalty now completely bought by its stomach. The loyalty points slowly tick up as he feeds his new companion. The dragon's affection reaches a respectable 25 points, but its expression quickly sours as it realizes it's still starving. And in a fit of pure, hangry rage, it lunges at its new master. So Renshi pulls out his trump card, the unlimited food ticket. It summons a Lord Tier meal, a golden pig that grants poison immunity. He tosses a piece to the gluttonous creature, hoping to appease it. The offering works wonders, boosting its loyalty by a massive 20 points. With its loyalty now at a passing grade, he decides it's time to level up. But a sudden commotion from the forest outside stops him in his tracks. Rensha watches as his precious food ticket disappears into thin air. He scrambles up a tree, sensing a massive disturbance nearby. But instead of a monster horde, he finds a troop of armored centaur guards. They stand in formation, their expressions grim and focused. Their leader points towards the cave, ordering them to investigate. The entire squad charges forward with thundering hooves. From his hiding spot, Renshi wonders what threat they're hunting, and decides that ignoring a potential opportunity is just bad manners. He spots his next target, a low-level golden silkworm. And with a flash of green light, he prepares to take control. His new silkworm host looks on in wide-eyed shock. Rensha immediately commands it to spin a line of silk, and swings through the trees like a tiny yellow Tarzan. He sticks the landing, ready to observe the armored guards. One of the centaurs senses the lingering light magic from the cave, so Renshi unleashes his most powerful and disgusting attack. The guard looks up, completely unimpressed by the aerial assault. He spots the silkworm on the branch, feigning total innocence. Disgusted, he dismisses the creature, focused on his mission. But Renshi's plan was simple. Provoke an attack to see their stats. But his plan requires a better vantage point, and a nearby bird looks like the perfect volunteer. He launches a furious attack, clearly not a fan of being stared at. The unsuspecting bird is taken out in a single decisive blow. With the body secured, he activates his necromancer skills and summons his very first undead servant. The newly reanimated finch takes flight, soaring high above the forest to act as his eyes in the sky. From above, he can see the guards have formed a massive search party. His new scout focuses in, ready to track their every move. He realizes he's on the edge of their perimeter and decides to move in closer. He quickly disciplines his new host for its lackluster performance. With his dragon in tow, he charges into the forest, ready to level up. But the dragon's first choice of meal is a tough, unappetizing ante. Its second attempt on a flaming Trent goes even worse. The third try on a slime monster ends in a full-blown tantrum. Rinshu steps in, promising to find it a proper meal if it just listens to him. His simple promise is enough to earn him a few more loyalty points. He gives his gluttonous companion a fitting new name, Chi-Chi, and points out their first real target, a much more edible-looking rabbit. Chi-Chi unleashes a surprisingly powerful blast of fire, cooking it instantly. The system confirms he's acquired a perfectly cooked meal. He offers it to Chi-Chi, telling the creature to eat slowly. The meal is enough to level Chi-Chi up to 20, much to Renshi's delight. He's also hit level 30 himself, his stats now rivaling specialized classes. But his moment of pride is interrupted by a brilliant flash of light. He turns around, his eyes wide with shock. A massive, winged figure of pure energy materializes before him. The light intensifies, signaling a powerful evolution is underway. The system confirms Chi-Chi has reached her adolescent stage, and her first thought in her new body is that she's hungry again. The story shifts to a grand city, a hub of power and intrigue. At its heart stands the Temple of Light's main cathedral. Yanxing explains, this is where the game's main story truly begins. She's now a level 25 holy priest ready to take on the quest. She recalls the lore. The former Light Lord and a doll stole a powerful artifact. The new lord, her brother, immediately ordered her capture. The full might of the temple's armies was sent to hunt them down. They were on the verge of finding the fugitives. But news of the theft reached the ears of the Dark Temple. They too joined the hunt, trapping and killing a doll in a brutal siege. The former Light Lord was captured by her brother, but the Genesis artifact had vanished, drawing the Dark Temple's suspicion. This ignited a war between the two great factions, forcing every player to choose a side. Using the path Adol had opened for her, Yanxing advanced her class, preparing for the quest ahead. She now stands before the new Light Lord, reporting that she's found the location of his fugitive sister. The Lord senses the aura of the traitor Adol on her, and for that, he declares his complete trust. As a reward for her faithful service, he offers her a special blessing. A brilliant beam of light strikes her down, a gift from her new master. The holy energy surges through her, empowering the unique weapon she carries. A system alert confirms her source of light has evolved into a mythic tier weapon, and her very race has changed to primordial light. She stands transformed, her plan to evolve from a simple human into a powerful elemental, a complete success. She reflects on her new race, a powerful elemental with limitless potential. The Light Lord sends her off, promising even greater blessings for her success. With her new mission clear, she races towards the given coordinates. The Light Lord watches her depart, his expression unreadable. She knows this quest will earn her a mythic item, the key to breaking past level 1000. Elsewhere, a centaur guard senses the same light elements in the air. He ponders his mysterious orders, unsure of what he's meant to find, but a sudden noise puts him on high alert, and he calls out a warning. A tiny burst of fire streaks past his face, an attack from an unseen foe. He's suddenly engulfed in flames, his power suppressed by the unexpected assault. From the trees, Renshi taunts the guard, offering to take his body off his hands. He lands with a smug look, deciding the guard's silence is consent. And with that, he unleashes his signature parasitism skill. But Chi-Chi reveals she was the one who attacked, and now she wants payment for her services. Rensha, already on the guard's head, tells her to stop pretending and take back the flames. Now in control of the centaur, he forces his new host to bow before his pet. The two of them share a moment of silent, chibi-style understanding. But Chi-Chi quickly loses her temper, arguing about her trump card until Renshi promises her anything. With a final warning about her food, she disappears back into the pet space. Renshi can only grumble about his high-maintenance companion, already missing the days of mindless mounts. With a new body, Renshi decides to head for the center of the search party. He gallops through the forest, trying to blend in with the other guards, but his path is blocked as another squad comes to a sudden halt. They can only watch in shock as he speeds right past them. Their captain, unknowingly carrying Renshi's true form, is asked if they should report the rogue. But the captain is far too busy complaining about the mission to care. His subordinates enthusiastically agree with his lack of motivation. Meanwhile, Rensha successfully infiltrates the search perimeter. He can only guess what they're looking for, an item or a monster. But his thoughts are interrupted by a strange feeling from his necromantic space. A swirling green portal opens, summoned by his necromantic power. Inside, he finds his two former hosts unconscious on the ground. He notices a glowing sigil on the woman's hand, a final gift from the priest. The golden mark pulses with energy, a clear sign of Adol's handiwork. Suddenly, it shoots a brilliant beam of light into the distance. Rensha realizes the priest left him a trail and decides to follow. But he knows charging in as a centaur will alert the entire guard. So he cancels his parasitism, deciding to travel light. His tiny caterpillar form zips through the forest at high speed. He finds a new perch, ready to follow the trail undetected. The trail of light leads him to a clearing before vanishing completely. He suspects an invisible barrier is blocking his path. Cautiously, he reaches out a tiny hand to test the air, and his suspicions are confirmed as he touches a shimmering wall of energy. He pushes his tiny body through the strange, rippling field. Our boy is clearly having way too much fun with this. He dives headfirst through the portal into the hidden area. On the other side, he finds a serene and untouched grove, but he's not alone. A blonde woman spots the strange caterpillar in the trees. She clutches her chest, revealing a dark, curse-like mark spreading across her skin. The woman steps out of the water, her long blonde hair whipping in the wind. She wonders how he bypassed the barrier that blocks all light and dark beings. A sudden sense of dread washes over her, a premonition of a curse, and our boy can only stare in absolute, drooling disbelief. The system identifies her as a former light goddess, a level 1000 plus being